So, folks, let's talk midterm primary election night. That's right, it is currently the midterm primary night for a whole host of races. But one of the main ones we want to be paying attention to is, of course, the Michigan primary election. And when we go and look over here, Abdul El-Sayed is narrowly in the lead here by about 5,000 votes. And only 42% of the vote is in, but we are in for a night. This is going to be a knockdown, drag out fight. Yeah, we're struggling, but it seems like so far Haley Stevens has had the edge when it comes to specifically mail-in votes and absentee voting. She just got a big dump of votes to kind of narrow this gap. Earlier in the night, it was really, really nice because Abdul El-Sayed was ahead by like 33 points. But that has significantly narrowed, of course, as more and more results have come in. So far, it doesn't seem to be the runaway election we were necessarily hoping for. However, these are not the results that Haley Stevens was really hoping for, because a lot of the gains that Abdul El-Sayed made from especially votes that came in early were unexpected. And they were unexpected in that they were weighted heavily towards Abdul El-Sayed by, again, like significant margins. And granted that a lot of those early votes that came in were going to be weighted towards Abdul El-Sayed, but they were weighted towards him by an unexpectedly high margin. And it has also kind of become clear as more and more votes have come in that Abdul El-Sayed spent a lot of his time going through rural Michigan and talking with rural Michiganders. And that seems to have paid off so far. I want to highlight one of the early points that was made here by one of the election observers. He is in the lead in 5 out of the 6 rural counties in the region as they've begun reporting. His margins, however, vary. In Delta County, where 65% of the vote is in, he holds a lead of less than 4 percentage points over Haley Stevens. In Chippewa County, where more than 40% of the ballots have been reported, he leads by 6 percentage points. But, like, that's some excellent work done by Abdul El-Sayed's campaign, right? And a lot of what is becoming clear is that the game plan for the El-Sayed campaign was to mobilize younger voters to turn out on election day. And what that has kind of meant is that a lot of the results are coming out, as they count the ballots that are, were cast today. Also worth pointing out that Michigan had a record turnout in this primary by like an absurd degree. Michigan set records for both mail-in voting and early voting. And also, what that means is 1.3 million people voted by mail, which is like over 200,000 more than voted by mail last time it was available. So there's also been a 90% increase in people who voted early at the polling stations. Like, there is a lot more voting being done today than is usual for primary races in Michigan, which is, I want to point out, something that is going to benefit Abdul El-Sayed. Bigger turnout in this race is almost certainly going to benefit El-Sayed. Very cool to see. And unfortunately, as we're talking here, the gap between them has narrowed yet again. Now it looks like we're only looking at a 3.5% difference between the candidates. This is going to come down to perhaps a handful of thousand votes. And I, for one, am a little bit concerned. I'm concerned. I've got some concerns. Keeping that in mind, there have been some heartbreaking moments in this particular midterm primary season. And of note, I do want to point out here, Cori Bush, progressive favorite, got clobbered by Wesley Bell, sadly, and the DSA tried to mount a comeback here, and it did not succeed. Sadly, it sucks, but I do think that DSA is not going to have its sweep. That being said, the real fight here is in a couple of different places. Michigan is obviously the primary one we're paying attention to tonight because it has sweeping implications for specifically the Democratic Party. But one of the other places people should be paying more attention to is specifically Kansas here. This is Adam Hamilton, who is a mega pastor in Kansas, and he won his primary tonight. People are starting to take note of him in Kansas. And specifically, there is a non-zero percentage point chance, based on some preliminary polling, that this man in particular, Reverend Adam Hamilton, might be able to flip a Senate seat in Kansas. And in fact, Republicans are deeply worried about this and have spent millions of dollars in Kansas against not just him, but other Democrats running for office. They spent $4.7 million, the GOP, on advertising. And that is worth pointing out. That's more money than what the GOP spent on advertising in Texas for its candidates in Texas. So it's worth noting that the GOP, as a political party, is spending some serious cash on Kansas, a place that should, for all intents and purposes, be on lock for Republicans. Like, we're talking, they literally haven't sent a Democrat to Congress in over 100 years. That's how on lock these Kansas spots should be. And yet, they are worried. Yet, they are worried and scared. And that, I think, is very, very interesting. It's very interesting indeed. And let's just take a quick look here. Here's the New York Times. Kansas is not as right-wing as some of its neighbors. Its popular two-term governor, Laura Kelly, is a Democrat, as is one of its 4 representatives in the U.S. House. Representative Sharice Davids. In 2022, voters resoundingly decided against removing the right to abortion from the state constitution. More recently, Kansas farmers were hit hard by the Trump administration's tariffs. Yeah, this guy has a 24,000 person congregation. Jesus Christ. That is big. This is one of those cases, though, where a moderate Democrat, I could concede, might do well in a district like this. Or in a state like this, rather. And so, like, I do think that there is a little bit of merit when it comes to, hey, in certain circumstances, you need to run a moderate, member of your party. Because the people in that district are just more moderate. I don't think that is nearly the case in as many places as the Democratic Party would like you to believe. And that is exactly what we are seeing play out in the Michigan primary race. So, I'm excited to see how this Michigan race plays out. Looks like we got some more vote drops, and it looks like El-Sayed has pulled away just a little bit by about 0.5%. Definitely interesting, to say the least. So that is where we're at. I know that there are other races going on right now, but we do have to be patient. We do have to wait for more results to come on in. I don't know. I think it's quite interesting here. I know there was another race that I was particularly interested in here. Which one was it? Oh yeah, I was interested to see how this race in Michigan's 13th district was going to shape up. I know that I believe DSA is having a bit of an internal dispute here between Donovan McKinney, who I believe is backed by DSA, and Sri Thanadar, who was formerly backed by DSA. And this race is just an interesting one I think to pay attention to. Shri Thanadar came to prominence when, like as a DSA candidate a few years ago, but after October 7th, he distanced himself from DSA specifically because he thought the DSA's reaction to the genocide against the Palestinians was too extreme for him. And so that's what's going on here between McKinney and Thanadar, as far as I understand it. I'm not an expert on this particular race. That is all what is going on at the moment. And there you have it. Shri is a fraud. Donovan McKinney is a real DSA candidate and is likely going to win. You would say that, fellow DSA member. But yes, that is what I understand the issue to be at the moment. Don't worry about the race, even if we lose. I mean, I'm worried about the, Michigan Senate race. Because what is important about this race isn't like win or lose, we'll beat the Republicans. What's important about this race is sending the message that like Democratic politicians shouldn't be commodities bought and sold by the wealthy elite of this world. Like that shouldn't just be something where like, oh yeah, a special interest group dropped like $60 million into this race, and so no point even mounting a competition here. Like the point I think that is valuable here in voting for Abdul El-Sayed is sending the message that you can't buy elections. You can drop $100 million for all we care. You can't fucking buy us. And that's more valuable than basically anything right now, especially in the face of, the fascist administration we're facing down, So that's kind of where we're at. Michigan got me huffing hopium right now. It's going to be a long night. We're going to periodically check back in with this. Right now it's back to 3.7%. So of a difference here. We're in some wild times, but also in the counties that have reported enough votes, Abdul El-Sayed is ahead of their pre-election benchmarks by a 6-point margin. That is terrible news for Haley Stevens. Holy shit! Wait a minute. El-Sayed, who led by nearly 30 points in the reported vote earlier in the night, has seen his advantage shrink to less than 4 points. He's winning in-person votes by roughly 25 points. Holy shit. Y'all, if enough young people turned out, Abdul El-Sayed won this. If enough young people turned out, he's got it in the bag. It's like if enough young people turned out, it's not even going to be close. What does that mean? It means that like he is getting 25 percentage points more of the in-person vote than Haley Stevens is. Despite the fact that he's being outspent like 10-1 in this race by special interest groups, like he's carrying election day voting by an insane margin. Is this where we start yelling about stop the count or something? No, we want the count to keep going. Honestly, guys, I wouldn't say we bloody did it yet. I would say that the indicators are very good. The indicators are very good, and he's overperforming what people thought he would do at this point, right? So, all of that being said, it's going to be a close one. But I am hopeful that this is going to work out. It's a pretty polarizing election, but it is worth noting that typically, as many of you may know, when it comes to election results, it takes longer to count the in-person ballots, and those counts don't come in until later on. So, especially in heavily populated areas, those votes are going to take a while to count up. But it's gonna be a night, and he's now outperforming the pre-election benchmarks by 8 points. Let's go. I hope he keeps maintaining this lead. I would love to see a lead by like 5 points, though. I would love to see a better one. Damn, that's wild. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I hate the stress of watching election counts. Yeah, I do have to say, as I was preparing to do the show today, I was watching the what's his name, Brett Kornacki over on CNN. I was watching his live stream of like just breaking down the votes coming in, and I gotta say, I do think I have like a distaste for. I have a distaste for treating it like it's a horse race, you know? Like, oh, and now a new batch came in, and look at that. Now Abdul El-Sayed is in the lead. We're coming around the right. Like, oh, Steve Kornacki's on MS Now. That one. But like, it's so important. Everyone wants to be one of the first people to know, and so people are glued to this shit. And well, we got it. Like, we're getting more and more of the results. 47% now. I just think that like the framing of it as like a sports competition makes it way more of an us versus them mentality than it needs to be when we're talking about politics. I frame it that way to cope. That, I hadn't thought about it, but maybe the sports analogy makes it easier to engage with, This is incredible to watch this. It's less stressful once you kind of have a sense of where it's going. I mean, I certainly hope it is continuing to go in the correct direction. The scary part is, like, Haley Stevens has an edge when it comes to early voters and mail-in voters, and this is one of the heaviest mail-in and early vote elections that Michigan... No, this is the heaviest mail-in vote and early vote election that Michigan has ever had. At least any Michigan primary. Yeah, it's stressful. Like, he has the edge in in-person votes.
RBJ and absolutely loving you on Tassie. Smiling
Thank
face
you.
with hearts emoji.
Christians Against Dinosaurs, thank you for the €5. Appreciate you. And glad you enjoyed me on Takis. Yeah, another percentage point trickling in here. It's been mostly stable for a bit. Yeah, the edge has remained fairly stable, but like, man, I'd love for that edge to go up above 5 points, Michiganders, I want to see your Michigan fist. I want to see your Michigan fist. I want to see your Michigan fist. God, how do these goobers stay in power? It's genuinely baffling to me, I can't. I can't. I desperately need to update my soundboard. I'm looking for the Michigan fist sound. Coder Joe doing the Lord's work over here. We need the Michigan fist. I need the Michigan fist. Yeah, here we go.
I want that Michigan fist! I want the Michigan fist! So I'm going to say this like the son of a Michigander. Michigan, we're the hand, right? It's nice to have fingers. They all got jobs. They all got perspectives. But I don't want the Michigan hand after your convention. I don't want the Michigan hand after your August primary. I want the Michigan fist. I want you all to unite. I want you to punch a hole in the wall of resistance. I want you to grab a sledgehammer and knock some stuff down. I want you to reach up and grab somebody and get them off the couch and get them on the field. We got points to put on the board. I want that Michigan fist. I want some unity.
Hell yeah, brother.
I want that Michigan fist.
Michigan fist, you say? Smirking face emoji.
Yeah, I didn't. I do not say that. That's all Cory Booker. That's all Cory Booker, member of Congress. If we do wind up losing Michigan, this is going to be my unvarnished reaction.
Aw, shit. Shit. Damn it. Fuck. Pierce. Shit. Damn it. Aw, damn it. Shit. Fuck. Pierce. Aw, damn it. Shit. Fuck. Pierce. God damn it. Shit.
Oh, God. That was from Dracula's Angel. Rip Billy. Billy was a real one. All right. We've got about 50% of the votes here, and Abdul El-Sayed is ahead by about 24,000 votes, but like, holy moly, it's too close. Dracula's Angel, yeah, it's a movie we watched on stream together. It's incredible. We'll probably watch it again at some point. Can't stop saying Michigan Fist. Yeah, once you pop, you just can't stop. With all that being said, folks, we are going to take a break from keeping an eye on the results coming out of Michigan. And we're going to take a look at a few of the other things happening around the country and talk about a few of the other important news stories. Whew. I gotta say, it is tightening up. Abdul El-Sayed is in the lead now by only 22,000 votes. Ooh, I don't like it. I don't like it. Let's see. We've got 72% of the votes in, and Abdul El-Sayed, it is narrowing. And that doesn't make me feel great. It is now a difference of 3 points between Abdul El-Sayed and Haley Stevens. I was really hoping it would widen to 5 points. I do not like the narrowing of the race. It's still a 3-point lead, which isn't nothing. It translates to roughly, 45,000 votes, which is nothing to sneeze at. But there's still a lot of votes left to be counted with, 27% of the vote left. So like I'm still not feeling great. I hope it's done. I hope you guys are correct. But I am not going to rest on my laurels and like start celebrating just yet. Yeah, I'm in sweating profusely mode, Ivan Holmes, 100%, right there with you. Took a little break. Let's check back in, and fuck, my blood pressure is not going down. We're now 2.8% separated. Don't do this to me, Michigan. Don't fucking do this to me. I will. So help me. I will pull up the Billy soundbite.
Oh, shit. Shit. Damn it. Fuck. Pierce. Shit. Damn it. Oh, damn it. Shit. Fuck. Pierce. Oh, damn it. Shit. Fuck. Pierce. God damn it. Shit.
I hate this. We still have 25% of the vote left. Fuck. I do have to say, Mallory McMorrow over here doing, Abdul El-Sayed a favor, I think, by staying on the ballot. But like, fuck, dog. So long as Colorado doesn't go the route of someone like Newscum as governor and tech oligarchs. Well, I got bad news for you about Jared Polis. I read she suspended. She did, but she's still on the ballot. You think Haley might contest it if it's this close? I mean, I think it would have to be much closer for her to contest, but if it is very close, then yeah, she'll absolutely contest it. How long does it have to be in order to be called? I mean, until they finish counting the votes. Right now, a difference of like 2.8% is not enough for them to call with still 25% of the votes outstanding. Okay, it looks like perhaps Detroit isn't fully... Detroit hasn't actually started being counted yet. According to the New York Times here, we've got data from the suburbs, mid-sized cities, smaller cities and suburbs, and rural. We have no data yet from Wayne County, Detroit. So that's really going to be what makes it or breaks it. And hopefully the pattern holds that, he's got more support from like working class Michiganders. But like, yeah, so far in Wayne County, we have 60% of the votes in, and it's leaning by about 7 points towards Haley Stevens. That's not great. You guys always worry so much that I'm right. I hope you're right. I live in Wayne County, and I swear we better pull this off. I hope you guys do. Dearborn didn't vote Syed. No, I believe they did. So far, Abdul El-Sayed has overperformed in rural areas. So far, from what we've seen, I'm sure Syed took Dearborn. Dearborn is part of Wayne County. Cool. It might be that like a lot of those in-person votes have yet to be counted, especially in a city the size of Detroit. So perhaps a lot of those outstanding votes are in person, and if so, and El-Sayed's edge holds, then that would be a really good sign for him. Wayne County was rumored to go to Stevens. I mean, it is leaning towards Stevens in the preliminary data, but I think a lot of that data is coming in from the suburbs, so we'll have to see how that shakes out. Oh, don't like this, don't care for it. We're now at a 2.6% difference. Abdul is giving a live speech?
Ad after ad after ad after ad on TV. We're walking into the rest of this evening with a 3-point lead. And so as folks ask, if and when we win this race, how are you going to beat Mike Rogers and their money? I want you to remind them that if we come through this, when we come through this, inshallah, that we'll have taken $70 million on the chin and kept fighting back. But I also want to speak to this moment. We've got 13 weeks to defeat Mike Rogers. And however we might feel about the campaign we've just come through, I want you to understand that it pales in comparison to the cynicism, in comparison to the corporatism, in comparison to the lies that Mike Rogers and Donald Trump are going to tell. There is so much more that unites us. However much we might disagree with our Democratic opponent, there is so much more that unites us than divides us. And so to all of our supporters here tonight, watching on TV, tomorrow we begin to mend fences. Whatever happens tonight, we have a responsibility to assure that we unite to make sure that Mike Rogers never sees the inside of the U.S. Senate. And I'm going to ask, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to ask all of us, as we think about where we go from here, always magnanimity in victory. So if your instinct is to be like, I told you, no. Let's come together to build a movement that's even bigger, that's even stronger, that's even more powerful, that reaches into the very depths of this state, that reminds us the best of who we are and who we can be. That is the commitment I want all of us to be making as we leave here tonight. And so, Mike, and I know you're listening, Mike, we are coming for you.
Let's go. I love a strong king.
I gotta tell you, I was in med school while Mike Rogers was in Congress. This is a guy who's never seen a check from a pharmaceutical lobbyist he didn't want to cash. He sent our campaign a cease and desist for calling him a pharma lobbyist. But I don't know. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, smells like a duck, how am I supposed to know it's a goose? So look.
Okay.
Forgive me, Mike. I just know that you spend so much time with pharma lobbyists, I just thought you were one. You've taken so much money for them.
Is he
raise
calling
our
victory?
prescription
No.
drug prices.
No, he's not calling victory. He's giving a speech to rally people's like spirits. He's like, because people are nervous. People like you and I, we look at these results and we're nervous. And that's not to say that like it looks really bad right now. He is in the lead. It's better than being behind at this point. But like he's nervous, you know?
And here's the thing about it. He can't decide which era.
Or rather, we're nervous and he is trying to help us.
Republican he wants to be from. On the one hand, he was from the neocon era that had us fighting unnecessary wars in Iraq, swore up and down he could never support Donald Trump, then went to Mar-a-Lago when he decided to run for Senate the first time, and licked all the boots until he finally got that Trump endorsement. So he's both the worst of the neocon era and the worst of the MAGA era, and I just think that's the worst of all. Because at least you should know who you are. But I promise you, Mike, by the time we are done with you, all of Michigan is going to know who you are. You are a corporate sellout who's not a pharma lobbyist, but really, really might want to be one someday, who voted to raise our prescription drug prices, who supported wars we don't need to fight, who tried to shut down our bridges, who wants to stand in the way of our unions, who should never see the inside of the U.S. Senate. So friends, we're going to have to wait a little longer to see the outcome of this race. But as I look in front of me, I already see the outcome of this campaign. A community of people who came together around a set of ideals, built on the foundation of what this government was supposed to be in the first place. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And as I think about where we sit in the long arc of our history, it's hard not to reflect on the fact that we just commemorated 250 years. And we all know those 250 years weren't perfect. We all know that a lot of that history was built on a set of foundational errors. And at the same time...
Okay, we've got an interesting insight here from the city of Detroit, enhancedvoting.com. I don't really know what this is, but it is saying voter turnout was low, which is at odds with what I've seen. Curious here. Got partial reporting from a lot of different districts, but we don't actually have full reports from any of them, which is a problem. I do think, however, that perhaps the ballot cast total is not accurate, considering that if it was, we would be getting official reporting at a much higher percentage of like the tally. What I mean by that is that the New York Times is currently reporting, for example, Wayne County, according to the New York Times, right now has 190-some thousand votes cast. And this is saying ballots cast only 94,000. I don't know that this is necessarily indicative of Wayne County itself. I guess just Detroit, the city, but that's not really helpful for us at the moment. We'll see.
Equal access
Hopefully
to
it's wrong.
citizenship for years. Continued discrimination against people. The thing our country has always done better than anyone else is that we've been able to look those failures in the eye and correct them. It's not because we ignore our challenges. The greatness of America is the ability to see those challenges
not yet.
and fix them. And 250 years on, as we think about where we go from here, it is that ability to correct that we together have embraced in this movement. We live in...
Yeah, I'm just talking about Wayne County. I'm not talking about the rest of the state, guys. Please, for the love of God.
An era of historical inequality. In an era where we carry the consequences of historical segregation. An era where we continue to see a few very small people try to define America as being as small as they are. We can't control the past 250 years. What we can do is build the next 250.
Someone in my chat unironically coming in here and saying, bring back Confederate states. I don't know. Minnesota didn't put a bunch of y'all in the ground for you to rise again. Probably shouldn't do that.
And I see all kinds of colors, all kinds of stories coming together around the idea that we can have nice things, we just can't do it alone. That to have them, we're going to need to reach across the divides they tell us we can't breach. Divides of race, of faith, of geography, of sexual orientation, gender identity, to build together what we want to hand off to our kids and our grandkids.
The fact that this is even close dampens the hope that I have moving forward. Well, to be fair, you shouldn't allow this to dampen the hope, because what they've tried to do is buy the election with tens of millions of dollars. And the proof of this election is that they can't do that, right? No amount of money would allow them to buy this election. And so, while it is close right now, that closeness is a result of our hard work. It is the result of people who give a shit, caring and doing door knocking and doing phone banking and organizing on the ground in a million little ways, an uncountable number of connections between one another, between communities. You know, our victory here would be a beautiful thing. And I do think that we are going to win. I was just, I was hoping initially that it was going to be just a cut and dry blowout. And that is not what we are getting, but that is okay.
We treated all our kids like they were all our kids. Ask yourself what it would mean when it comes to where we spend our tax dollars, about the schools we build, the health care we provide, the opportunities we would want. And for the next 13 weeks and the next 6 years after that, I'm asking you to join me in helping to build that America.
I will point out that the counties that remain don't necessarily have a clear leader. If I were to guess, they would lean slightly towards Abdul El-Sayed, because we're looking at Wayne in particular, where Dearborn is, and also Macomb and Genesee. So I do think that this is going to become a much tighter lease. This is going to be a much tighter race than we would like. I do think he's going to be able to pull it out, but man, it does not feel good. I understand it does not feel good. What's this I hear about Detroit-leaning Stevens? Wayne County just has a lot of outstanding votes. Apparently, historically, they've been very slow to count votes. We'll see what happens when in-person voting gets tallied. If he wins, we take the win, and I hope he does. Indeed. I think of these next 2 years as praying for a stopgap, but the real change is in activism over many, many years and tears. Indeed, Malicito, you get it. You get the grand struggle I've brought you all into, or attempted to, at least. Can she demand a recount? I believe any politician in any election can demand a recount. The question is, would it actually help her? And so far, it's not so close that a recount would actually save her bacon. She's still trailing by like 23,000 votes. That's a very large gap to overcome. That being said, if it narrows down to like 1,000 or less, then a recount might be something that would be that she would call and could change the outcome. But I will say this. I do have this bottle of whiskey, and we're going to talk about Iran. And after we talk about Iran, we're going to check back in on this race, and we're going to see where we're at, and hopefully not vomit. And if we do succeed, I'm going to pop this open and celebrate. If we are still waiting on results, then we're going to jump into our What If Alt Hist Part 2 to really well and truly get silly in here. Okay? What kind of whiskey? It's a locally distilled whiskey. It's called 10,000 Drops. It's made in Faribault, Minnesota, and it is a single barrel bourbon, and it's quite nice. Quite nice. I like it. Gotta rep my local whiskey makers, you know? Minnesota makes good whiskey. I don't know what to say.
Please, 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 please.
Let's take a look at Michigan. We got 87% of the vote in, and Abdul El-Sayed is still maintaining like a 24,000 vote lead, which is, it sounds like a lot, but the percentages are getting vanishingly small here. And god damn it. Well, it's a difference of 1.8%, everybody. Buckle in, because we are going straight to Narrowtown. New York Times still predicting Abdul El-Sayed at 1.7% when it's all counted. You know, I hope the New York Times is correct. We're getting to the final 10%. Here's a question. Do you think Stevens voters would come out for Sayed? Yes. Look, I don't think that there is a meaningful percentage of moderate Democratic voters who aren't going to turn out for a more progressive Democrat, especially in this election. Ooh, Wayne County is narrowed down to 5 points for Stevens. Let's take a quick look instead of 8 points. Hey, that's what I like to see. Abdul El-Sayed gaining. Well, yeah, I would imagine the folks who are so racist that they aren't going to vote for Abdul El-Sayed won't turn out. But I also imagine that that's going to be counterbalanced by the fact that, you know, people, younger Middle Eastern folks are going to be more inclined to turn out for Abdul El-Sayed. According to AP News, according to the New York Times as well. Like, we're real fucking close. 77% of Wayne County now reporting for duty. Woo, I'm stoned? That's the spirit. A real nail-biter, Gilbertus Maximus. Oof. It's a lot closer than I was hoping. When the initial results came in and he was up by like 33 points, I was like, haha, yeah, this might be a blowout. And it is not that, you know? Oh, shit. Yeah, he a new dump of votes came in. He's up to almost 30,000 votes ahead of Haley Stevens. Let's go. Let's widen that a little bit. Come on, baby, you can do it. You can do it, baby. I believe. I believe. Why does Mallory have 4%? Because she was on the ballot. Like, she withdrew from the race and suspended her campaign too late to not be on the ballot. You can Abdul it. Why does Haley Stevens look like a ghoul? Because some people just look like that, you know? Let's go, man. I want these votes to come in so much faster. I'm curious here about Gladwin County. Okay, Gladwin is home to like 3,000 people, so probably not going to make the difference. So overall, we have about 1.4 million votes in. Yeah, in order for us to be within, like, the margin of error, we're gonna have to get down to, like... We're gonna have, like, 97%.
Abdul Victory Celebration Fund.
We're gonna have to have, like, 97% of the vote reported before... They called it? Wait, did they?
Abdul won, let's go.
I have not seen that. Where are you guys seeing that? Who called it? Who did it? Also, White Knight, thank you for the $50 super chat. Comrade Girl, thank you for the $5 dono. I'm not seeing it yet. Who called it? Steve Kornacki's who have been watching? Did Steve Kornacki call it? NBC called it for Abdul? Oh shit, 3 minutes ago! Abdul El-Sayed wins Michigan Democratic Senate primary, notching a Midwest victory. Holy shit, guys, he did it! They outspent him like 10-1. He got $65 million spent against him. They couldn't fucking break him. Let's go! Guys! Oh my god! If you need a $60 million crutch, you probably can't be elected on your own terms. You're goddamn right. You're goddamn right. Hell yeah.
$5 for a hopeful future. Cheers, you all.
Let's go, folks. Oh my god, this is incredible. Let's, wait. I want to see, he's got to be making a victory speech. He's got to be making a victory speech. He's got to be doing one, right? No, wait, did they all go home? Did they all go home right before they called it? Oh no! He did already? I mean, yo, if somebody comes to you and says, no, you won. You did it. Like, you gotta come back out and do a speech.
It will be James. It will be Benson. That will be the governor's race. In the congressional races, a significant result in Michigan's 7th district tonight here. William Lawrence.
No, he did not give a victory speech earlier. Like, we watched some of a speech, but it wasn't a victory speech. He couldn't declare victory yet. He just noted that he was ahead. Yeah, he was doing, like, the, I think we're gonna win, but you know, we have to wrap up this watch party, you know. Only NBC has called it. It's true. I want to...
Big, momentous results out of Michigan tonight that squarely put this state in the spotlight in November, both in terms of the Senate race, which will have massive implications for control of the United States Senate, and in this House race, which could have big...
looking at. Like, walk through what that looks like here for her in this critical county that we've been watching.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm starting to see here as we take a closer look. So Wayne County now ticking up to about, and I mean, this is close to 50%. If there's Detroit vote left, I don't think it's too much. It does not look like there's much left. So when you looked at this, when you look at Wayne County, the best opportunity for Stevens to go big was in Detroit. So if you're outside Detroit now, you know, we were just looking at this a minute ago, she was leading the countywide vote by 13. It's now come down, as you can see, by 8.5 points. You know, how much more plural? If you froze it here,
come on, Kornacki,
with the vote that's left, you know, she might get
Let's
an
go.
plurality of about 15,000 votes out of Wayne. That might be being generous, but you could see if she did that, that would have cut in half the El-Sayed margin here. But then the question is, where else is she getting it from? Would she get that from? Where would she make that up? I mean, there are still a lot of votes that are left to come here, like we're saying in Saginaw. And in Flint, we're getting more out of Flint. You know, if she's, out of Flint, out of Genesee. But again, if she's running at this, if she's winning Genesee
I want to
at
see him
this
say
margin and not getting a substantial double-digit margin out of it, that's not going to translate into. That's going to translate with what's left into an additional 3,000 votes or so, a plurality of about 3,000
Say it, chart
more
fucker.
votes. We were just going through completed counties. There are, there are a couple places where I think she's clearly hit.
Wasn't this earlier? It is earlier. I went back to see them call it.
She's hit, I think, what a benchmark would be for
her.
Because
they called it before anyone else, I wanted to hear the reasoning. And obviously, this is where they would have called it. So, like...
Getting out of Wayne County. Again, this is one of those places. I'm looking at Kent County here where Grand Rapids is. 85% is in right now. She's sitting at 34%. We talked about Washtenaw County. Now we're up to, almost 80% of the vote right there. Ann Arbor. One thing is, as we say, that last thing that gets counted there, we think in Washtenaw would be the vote by mail from Ann Arbor.
Right.
Could that be a boost for her right there?
So, Steve, how much of Wayne is in right now?
Well, we think about half. We're at 48%.
How is it even possibly this close?
Because $65 million can buy you a lot of primary ad time.
In county, right? So I mean, you could just see
Socket
how that math would work.
If there's
160,000 votes that are left in Wayne County, right? She's leading right now by 8.5 points. So
we did it.
If you said
it's looking like we did
Wayne
it
by 10 points, what would that be? That would be a plurality of 16,000 votes.
Yeah.
That might
Is it
be
Abdul?
Right
it's
now,
looking like it's
but
Abdul.
If you apply 16,000 votes to the deficit that she faces statewide right now.
NBC called
that leaves
it.
El-Sayed still up by 12,000. And then we're saying, okay, look, a prime opportunity for Stevens on this map coming right here, like in Genesee County,
Can't
where
you
Flint
understand
is.
the sweet,
with
sweet
the
love
numbers
between a glasses boy and his charts?
Oh, I understand the sweet, sweet love between a glasses boy and his charts.
she's getting right there. What if she nets an additional 3,000 out of what she's getting right now? Maybe she knocks that down to 9,000. I'm giving you kind of her good places right here. I'm giving you maybe an optimistic number for her out of Wayne. She is still, there's not a ton to come, but she is, she's been closing strong with what we've had in Oakland County. She has an opportunity, I think, with what's left in Macomb County. A tough one to get a handle on right here. But again, Kent County, we did just get a little bit more of an update there. Now she's at 34.5. Again, trying to get, I think that's Congressman. He ran for the United States Senate in this state against Alyssa Slotkin against El-Sayed. He narrowly lost. He will be now facing off in his second Senate campaign against El-Sayed. The backdrop of this race, which will be one of the most closely watched races this November, is that this is a state that Donald Trump won.
Look like
it's a
you are
swing
around
state.
62% total. I think you need to be close to 89% to hear the reason.
I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm sorry. I needed the chart fucker to point at it. I needed it. That's his entire purpose in life. I needed to see him go through the motions of trying to figure out what her pathway to victory is, and then ultimately go, she's done. She cooked.
Everyone, did you exercise today? The fascists did. Why haven't you?
Hell yeah.
Also, do you think the vote blue no matter who crowd will follow through?
I do think they will. I do think the vast majority of them will. Because, again, their option is, literal Satan. Jack said we needs to be 97%. Well, I'm not a chart fucker. I was trying to figure out what was the percentage of votes that would need to be in for there to be zero pathway to victory for Haley Stevens. And statistically, I do think he's right. There's some that she can pick up in certain spots, but statistically, it's not going her way in enough places. So I buy his argument. I just wanted to hear his argument, as opposed to mine, which is well, there are X amount of votes outstanding compared to how many votes we have right now. And of course, the difference between the total that El-Sayed has and the total that Haley Stevens has is, around 29,000, perhaps 30,000. And so if we use some napkin math, then maybe we'll arrive at the, a point at which there literally aren't any votes out there. And that would be 97%. Let's go. Yeah, honestly, Mallory McMorrow, by not pulling out of the race, I mean, ostensibly her voters are split relatively evenly between Abdul El-Sayed and Haley Stevens, but even so, probably did a solid to Abdul El-Sayed by continuing to be on the ballot, you know? They're calling him Abdul W. Sayed.
They're calling him Abdul W. Sayed.
Oh, God. It feels really good. It feels really good to not be fucked over.
The real question is how much more money does IPAC have to throw behind Mike Rogers in the primary after this debacle?
I mean, the thing is, what this election proved is that, one, you can't buy the election in the way that they want. It's not feasible for the organizations around AIPAC to dump 60 plus million into every Senate primary race that Democrats run, and then to dump like another $60 million into the general election. They do not have the money to do it. The other component here is that, like, if they couldn't buy the primary race, they certainly can't buy the general. You know, like, the primary has a much lower turnout, has a much lower, like, engagement, and the fact that they could not get that one really, to me, indicates that, like, while they certainly are going to try to buy the general, it's diminishing returns. They got money, we got people, and honestly, that people power is going to be supercharged after tonight.
I hope they don't learn that lesson and keep dumping absurd amounts of money until they fold.
I hope so too. Like, I hope they absolutely, like, decimate their coffers. Ugh, I want so badly for Abdul El-Sayed to go live again. If you guys start seeing live alerts from him going live to give a victory speech, please let me know. MSM has called it, Reuters has called it, NBC has called it. It's excellent. This is great. Yeah, he's still in the lead by like 25,000 votes. I don't know that she'll be able to overcome that. I think his speech said it all. Yeah, but there's a difference between like a hold tight, we'll talk again in the morning, and like a speech when victory has been announced, you know? I can't wait for the pundit cope tomorrow. Oh, guys, you have to prepare yourselves, because if you thought people were salty about Zoran Mamdani winning, if you thought establishment libs were salty about Zoran Mamdani, the level of salt you are about to see starting tomorrow is going to be unprecedented. The level of just incredible, like, whoa, how could that even possibly happen? Like, James Carville might self-immolate. You know, like, there might genuinely be, like, an unending torrent of New York Times opinion pieces from the stupidest people imaginable. Like, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be so fucking funny. And I'm really, really excited. You know? I think it's great. I can't even imagine how racist they'll be. I can. And they are going to be awful. But what's awesome is that when you're on this side of it, doesn't matter, because you fucking won. You proved all those haters wrong, and you fucking won anyway. And, like, they aren't going to know what to do with it, because to the Democratic Party, historically, what you have to do in these elections is become a moderate conservative Democrat and, you know, raise a ton of money from your corporate backers, and then you're good. Then you stay in office for 30 years.
Now, Bill Maher will officially leave the left this week.
Oh, that is a great call. There's a decent chance that we start seeing a Why I Left the Left deluge as well. And honestly, fuck him. Good. Get rid of Bill Maher. Fuck that guy. Yeah, David Brooks is gonna, like, I don't know, have another end-life crisis and, like, divorce his current wife to get with an even younger wife. Like, I'm extremely happy right now. This is incredible. Oh no, my steak is too juicy. Indeed. How damaging do you think this will be to AIPAC? Dem influence, since this was a narrower win than we hoped? Oh, incredibly damaging. Like, the conventional wisdom is that it should be nowhere near this close. They outspent Abdul El-Sayed 10-1. Like, it should not be this close. The fact that it was, close isn't going to matter when the reality is they tried to buy this election and failed. So anyway, folks, cheers to you, cheers to me, and you know what? Most importantly, cheers to Abdul El-Sayed. Excellent.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.